Okay, I promised myself that I was going to stay away from the whole Kyle Rittenhouse lawsuit dealio, but I couldn't resist here. By the way, I have a theory, and my theory is that Kyle Rittenhouse is actually not going to be sued. Wait, you may think, how can that be? I'll explain here in a moment. In the meantime, hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With his powerful brainwaves cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnny Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's the Johnny Walker Dread Show.
Okay, so let's listen in on this.
Welcome back to Law and Crime Daily. We end our show with new developments in Wisconsin. A federal judge ruled that a wrongful death lawsuit against Kyle Rittenhouse can move forward. Rittenhouse stood trial in November of 2021 for killing 2 people and wounding a third during civil unrest in Kenosha. The jury acquitted Kyle Rittenhouse, who was just 17 at the time he opened fire with an AR-15. That same year, John Huber filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Rittenhouse, city officials, and members of law enforcement.
Wrong. He didn't. Go back to the lawsuit that he originally filed. Kyle Rittenhouse was never mentioned in it. He only wanted to sue the cities and the counties and the police departments. They have the money. However, there's another reason why he left Kyle Rittenhouse out of the deal. I'll explain here in a moment.
His son, 26-year-old Anthony Huber, was killed while attempting to disarm Rittenhouse with a skateboard. Huber claims officers allowed the dangerous situation to unfold, violating his son's constitutional rights and resulting in his death. He also believes Rittenhouse conspired with law enforcement to intentionally harm protesters.
Kyle Rittenhouse intentionally conspired with the police to kill Huber. Right. By the way, if you're wondering, I have covered Huber's lawsuit very thoroughly in some of my past videos. In fact, I read the lawsuit out loud. It's a real laugh. So if you're curious about what the lawsuit says, I'll post a link in the description below.
Huber is seeking unspecified damages. During trial, Rittenhouse was questioned about the circumstances around Huber's death. Here's what he had to say.
As I'm running past Mr. Huber, he's holding his skateboard like a baseball bat, and he swings it down, and I block it with my arm, trying to prevent it from hitting me, but it still hits me in the neck. I get lightheaded, I almost pass out, and I stumble and hit the ground. Mr. Huber, immediately after I'm kicked in the face.
By the way, I think they reversed it there in the editing. When he was talking about stumbling, that was from the first hit, not the second.
Runs up as I'm sitting up. He strikes me in the neck with his skateboard a second time.
Then what happened?
He grabs my gun, and I can feel it pulling away from me, and I can feel the strap starting to come off my body.
And what do you do then?
I fire one shot.
When you shoot him, he's got his skateboard in his hand?
Yes.
You didn't see any gun in his hand, correct?
No.
You didn't see a knife?
No.
You didn't see a bat?
No.
You didn't see a club?
No.
Did you see a bazooka? No. Did you see a musket? No. Did you see a hand grenade? No. Good God.
All he's got is the skateboard, right?
That he's hit me in the head with twice, yes.
Kyle did a very good job, I must say, as a witness. He got his licks in.
Okay. And you intended to pull the trigger at that moment with your AR-15, correct?
Yes.
The AR-15 didn't fire by itself.
The end of that gun was pointed directly at his chest when you pulled the trigger, correct?
Yes.
And you knew that, correct?
Yes.
And you still pulled the trigger, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, it's better than waiting for the gun to be pointing somewhere else.
Bernardo Rittenhouse won the criminal case. Does that mean he'll likely prevail in a wrongful death lawsuit as well?
Not at all, Brian, because you got to think when it comes to a civil lawsuit, the burden is completely different. At the time of trial, of a criminal trial, the burden was beyond a reasonable doubt, and the prosecution had to disprove that he didn't act in self-defense. When it comes to a civil lawsuit, the burden is more likely than not preponderance of the evidence, 51% against 49%. And you're dealing with the same jury pool. But we also got to take into account that Kyle Rittenhouse testified, and his testimony at the criminal trial will be used at the time of this civil trial. So we'll just have to wait and see. But he has much more hurdles to jump over in terms of the civil trial.
All right, Terry, do you think we'll see similar lawsuits by others who were killed and injured?
Yeah, I think we could see similar lawsuits. We know that at least one other person was killed, one other person was injured. I think.
Yeah, let's talk about those civil lawsuits that we're going to hear from Jojo Rosenbaum and Gage Grosskreutz. Well, Jojo Rosenbaum was a scumbag who started a whole thing in the first place, and there's nobody who has any standing because he didn't have anybody. Do you really think that Jojo Rosenbaum's mom and dad are going to be able to step in and say, the loss of our son has just tormented us? Kyle has nothing to fear about a lawsuit concerning Jojo Rosenbaum. And in fact, anybody who is suing Kyle on behalf of Jojo Rosenbaum is going to have a serious problem when all of Jojo's past crimes come to the surface. What about Gage Grosskreutz? Well, Gage kind of screwed that one up already. He has no chance. And I have a feeling that that's the reason why we haven't heard anything about that lawsuit anymore. He could be just laying low to see how Huber's lawsuit pans out before he files a lawsuit of his own, but he royally screwed up. Actually, his lawyer, Kimberly Motley, the dumbest lawyer on the planet, put him on the stand. I mean, what the hell were you thinking? Oh my God. So, at any rate, Gage Grosskreutz, he went on the stand. He made a lot of statements that are going to kill him in a civil lawsuit. He has no chance at all. So, really, John Huber has the only realistic chance, but I'll explain to you why I don't think he's going to sue Kyle.
Here for a wrongful death action, though, what they're going to have to establish is there was some sort of reckless or negligent act that it caused. It's that causal connection. It caused the death of the individual and the fact that they are related to the individual, which they already have if they bring a wrongful death action. So I think as against, Kyle Rittenhouse, I think they're going to be able to prove that there is that causal connection, but we know that the lawsuit also sued the city and other officials. In that instance, I think it might be a little bit difficult to have that causal connection. But, if you sue Kyle Rittenhouse, there's no deep pockets. So I am certain that the family established this lawsuit because they wanted to get some sort of civil, money in this event. And it obviously is not going to bring back their son or, their brother or whatever.
Well, for the first time since I've been watching her, she actually made sense. Yeah, Huber wants the money. So that's the reason why he's going after the cops and the county. Kyle doesn't have anything, but there's another reason why he did not name Kyle in the original lawsuit. He does not want to put Kyle on the stand. And the reason why is now all of Anthony Huber's transgressions come to the surface. You see, as long as he is only suing the city and the police, he could keep a lot of that kind of on the low. The fact that Anthony Huber attacked Kyle while Kyle was running away from him, that's going to come out. The fact that he tried to kill Kyle when Kyle did not try to kill him, that's going to come out. So the original lawsuit did not name Kyle. So you may be wondering, well, why is Kyle named now? Well, according to a friend of mine who has very tight connections in this whole dealio, and I think a lot of you probably know who that is, Kyle had to be placed on the lawsuit because the judge made them. Basically, the judge said, you can't go forward with the lawsuit against the city and the county when you don't have the principal player listed. And so they had to put Kyle on there. I don't think they want to go after Kyle Rittenhouse at all. Now people are saying, well, this is a civil suit. So that fight that took place before the shootings, over there by the lakefront, that gets admitted? Probably not. Oh, and also the Pudgy's incident, that gets admitted? Probably not. Just because it's a civil trial doesn't mean you get to put everything out there that you want. They still have standards. It's far looser, but I don't think they're going to allow any of that. What about the CVS footage? Maybe, but even that I would think is probably a little bit of a stretch, but we'll see. But again, I don't think they're going to get there. I think that the whole idea behind this is that they're going to go forward with this lawsuit. They're going to get a settlement from the police and the county, and then they're just going to drop it. But hey, I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't even know if they can do that. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, look, everybody. I'm just guessing here. At any rate, like my video, subscribe to my channel.